Hi everyone, welcome back to Dwarf Fortress and the Brightmines. I am Sir Tristan. Let's pick up where we left off. At the very end of the last episode, I was getting some beds in order, which you can see I've kind of laid out in a nice little pattern here. And Zabak, our woodworker and carpenter, is getting the last of the beds organized. As always, you can follow what I'm doing with my keystrokes in the bottom left corner. Hello. And that way, if you're ever curious about what I'm doing, what keys I'm pressing, you can always find those down there. So if we hit Q, we're going to take a look at the workshop that we've got up here. There's one bed left to construct. Go ahead and unpause it and let him finish up that bed, and then we'll place it. Alright, the bed's done. If you remember from the last episode, to place down buildings, even buildings that have already been built, or even items that have already been built, since a bed is not really a building, you press B, and we have our B. We have our build menu here on the right, and bed is also B. So we'll go ahead and place that right there. Enter. And some lovely person should run up, grab the bed. I think it's Ryan from before. Sure enough, Ryan, the hard worker, going up, grabbing the last bed, placing it down. Now I have one bed for every dwarf in this kind of communal bedroom space. And dwarves don't always sleep at the same time. There's no day and night cycle, like I mentioned before. They just kind of sleep whenever they get tired. And so usually you don't need a bed for every dwarf, but I personally really like doing that. So there we have it. Now, if you remember, like I was saying, Q is the button for buildings, preferences, and tasks. So if I hit Q and I move my yellow X up there to the carpenter's workshop, you can kind of see all the tasks. There are none at the moment, but you would see all the tasks up here on the right. So this same button, Q, also works for other types of objects, anything you've built in the world basically. So having pressed Q, I can put my cursor over a bed, and you can see in the upper right there, we have the option to make this area into a bedroom. So I'm going to press R to do that. And now you see the size of the room is currently flashing. You can use the plus and minus keys to increase the size of the room, and then decrease the size of the room. Because I don't have doors yet on this room, the X's can leave the bounds of the room. If I had doors in place, which I'll probably do a bit later in this episode perhaps, or next episode, then the room space would not be able to leave that room, or the bounds could not leave that room. But for now we can just set it up like this and press enter. And now you see we have even more options up there. We can assign this bed to a specific person. So if we had, let's say down the line we were using this room as a place for troops to sleep near the entrance, right? So they could always be there to protect. We could assign specific beds to the dwarves in the military, so they would always come here to the specific places to sleep. Same thing with the barracks. Over there you have a bit of a shortcut there with the barracks in the upper right corner. But the thing we're going to do now is press D to turn this into a dormitory. And that pretty much just tells every dwarf in the game, hey, these beds are all free. You can come and sleep here if you want to. A lot of times they'll find the beds on their own anyway, so the dormitory can be a little redundant, but I like to set it up just in case. So we've got that now. We've got our bedroom all set up. As new dwarves come in, I'll be adding beds to that room, and eventually we'll be setting up further down in the earth bedrooms for each dwarf. So each dwarf can have their own bed, their own table, their own chair, and all that stuff. Because when they own property or when they own items, they get happy. And so we're going to want to make sure we do that later on. For now, I think I want to expand my fort a little bit. I've got a place to sleep, which is very important, but that's only half of the shelter. If you notice, all of our dwarves are just standing outside. But they're dwarves. They belong inside. They need a place to congregate beyond this barrel, this wagon. The wagon that they use to arrive. So we're going to hit D to do a designation. And remember, Dwarf Fortress being like a cake, you can only see one layer at a time. So we need to consider how to send the dwarves down a layer. There's so much open space here dwarves don't like open spaces, right? So we need to, if I hit shift comma, nope, shift period, we need to figure out how to get dwarves moving down to these bottom levels here. Down, 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 down. The way you do that is with designations, and you can build upstairs, up or downstairs, downstairs, up ramps, down ramps, things like that. I think from here, since I am so close to the top layer, I don't want to do an up and down stair. I want to do a downstairs only. So that option is going to be J. Actually, this may not end up working, but let's try it out. So I think I want to put my stairs right here. Okay, good. That did work. That did work. I tell you what, I think I'm actually going to do that. We're going to make a gigantic staircase. We'll put a pillar in the middle. Remember, I used X to cancel the designation, so I had designated stairs in the middle. I hit X and then press Enter twice to remove that. And then from there, I think I want to dig around, and I'm just pressing D and kind of highlighting the edges here, so that if a dwarf wants to, let's say if there's like a pathing issue, the dwarf can actually go around to this back set of stairs and go up or down if they need to. I'm going to try to get every room to be that way. So we'll unpause it, and we will let our miners, Ryan and the unnamed fella, Imush, get to digging. Speaking of which, if you would like a dwarf named after you in this series, please leave me a comment on this video or any of the other videos, and I will name a dwarf after you. And I think that it helps tell better stories when you guys watching can get engaged with the dwarves. Like, oh yeah, that's me, you know, my dwarf just stopped that forgotten beast from rampaging and destroying half the fort, or my dwarf just made that excellent bronze sword that's going to cleave the head off of a colossus, or, you know, whatever the case may be. My dwarf is going to not accomplish very much in his life and die of old age. Well, you know, whatever. Speaking of which, I have another request for a dwarf, so we'll go ahead and put him in here. Let's take a look. Let's do our farmer. He's got a name that doesn't quite match farming, but that's okay. We'll set a nickname. We'll say Lost Blade. Lost Blade the farmer. We'll click OK. The pending changes in the upper right there. We'll hit commit. And now we have Lost Blade Larlol. Lost Blade Larlol the farmer. Very cool. So yes, if you want a dwarf named after you, please let me know. Let's get back to mining. So the stairs are being carved out. Excellent. So there's an important thing to note. There's a difference between designating stairs and ramps to be cut and building stairs and ramps. Let's say I wanted to build an upward staircase. And let's say I wanted to do it right here. Now, because a wall already exists, remember when I said that designations are used to alter a tile that already exists, something that's there already? If I wanted to build an upstairs right here, I would need to use the designate key. So let's just do that as an example. D, and then upstairs U, and then I'd press enter, and then enter again, and you can see the outline of the stairs. Let's say I wanted to build a set of stairs right here in the middle of this hallway. Press enter, enter. Check that out, nothing happened. The reason why is because when you designate something, it alters the tile. It alters what already is there. So let's hit escape and hit K to look around. And look in the upper right corner, all we have here is a sandy clay loam cavern floor. Go down a little bit, here we have a wall. You can't designate stairs or ramps or anything to be built out of nothing, right? So there's no substance for those stairs to be built. So you use designations to alter what's already there. Let's say I wanted to build that staircase in the middle of the open floor. Well, I would need to use B for build. And then you can see down here, there's a capital C for walls, floors, stairs, and tracks. So we'll hit capital C. And then we have these options. Same similar options that would appear in the designations menu, but an upstair, a downstair, and up downstair. So let's pick U for the upstair. And let's pick right here in the middle of this hallway. Press enter. And you can see in the upper right, we have the item list, similar to when we built our workshops and our beds. right? So this build menu will actually build stairs out of existing items. So if we wanted to build stairs, they would be wooden stairs. But when you build them using the designation menu, let's go back up and hit K to look around. Nope. K to look around. Now see, if we look up here, we have a sandy clay loam downward staircase. That's because the downward staircase was built into the floor. And I know that there's nothing there, right? Like, there's only the floor. But downward stairs can be built into the floor, and upward stairs wouldn't have anywhere to go, right? Because it's just empty space between the floor and the ceiling. So anyway, I hope that made a little bit of sense. Designating and building get a lot of people confused, and it had me confused for quite a while, so I wanted to spend a few extra minutes talking on that to help explain that. So let's go down a level, and you can see now that we've built out those stairs, we have a little bit of insight into what's here, just a sandy clay loam wall. So what I want to do is I want to designate another stair, but let's do an up and down stair now, because for every down stair, there has to be a matching up stair. So these, what is this, 8? These 8 downstairs, if I were to go and just tell these guys to dig, I'm pretty sure they actually can't, can they? I've unpaused it, press U, no job. The miners, Ryan and Imush, they can't get there because there's no stair connecting that floor and this floor. So you have to have stairs or ramps connecting floors, and usually when you build ramps, it automatically builds an associated ramp down below. But with stairs, you actually have to make that choice. So I'm going to do D, and I'm going to do X to get rid of the designations. I don't want to accidentally dig something out. And then we're going to do an up and down stair with I. I'm actually going to, using enter and moving the cursor around, enter again, dig those out, or designate those out. So now when we unpause, there you go, see how they're flashing, and we have the jobs that say Ryan and Imush are carving our up and down staircase. There we go, and we've got it. And so now we've got a little bit of safe space down underground, and it looks like this is also going to be a dirt and sand floor, which is good. Remember I was saying before, dirt and sand get excavated very easily, and so we can use that to quickly carve out large areas for like storage or group bedrooms or training areas or things like that. I actually want to go down again, so remember that shift period, and I want to designate out some more up and down stairs. And what oh no, that would be upstairs. I don't want to do that. Let's do I instead for up and down. And what I'm looking for is I eventually want to go down far enough to where I find stone, so that I can start using some of that to make some additional items. So let's unpause. Let them come down. We just got more sand. There we go. I think we got some actual rock here now. Let's take a look. We're hit K. We're in look mode now. So we have a peat wall and a sand wall. So we're still not quite there yet. We have some deep sand going on. We'll go down another floor. D, I for up and down stair. And then we'll dig these out. And I'm making sure I leave that central staircase, or that central pillar, because that just seems more natural to me to have a central pillar. Okay, let's see what this is. Ah, granite. Perfect. Very good. So we'll go ahead and let them finish digging that out. And then I'll actually go ahead and designate another up and down staircase in this granite floor. Just make sure my stairs are going to line up. They will. There we go. Now you can tell, if you notice, the keen eye will notice it's taking longer to dig this floor out, because this is stone, and stone will always take longer to dig out than sand or dirt. Cool, so I've dug this out, and you can see now, unlike these other floors, you get these weird flashing things here. And if I mouse over, you can see in the very bottom right, in yellow, this says granite. And we can hit K, and we can look at the space, and there's a giant piece of granite here. Let's see, let's hit Z. Let's go back to Z. Remember, Z is our status. And if we go over to the right twice and hit enter stone, we should be able to find granite in this list now. There's marble. We knew we had that. Do we have granite in here? No. Granite's not showing up. I thought that granite was a special type. Oh, here we go. Other stone. That's what we're looking for. Let's hit tab, other stone. Well, they're all lit up. Okay. Never mind. That didn't work exactly like I thought it did. But we do have granite listed here. And you can see, well, I guess this serves our purpose. You can see by looking at this list, granite has no application beyond just building things. Economic stones, this other tab here, alabaster, calcite, chalk, copper nuggets, gold. Each one of them, as you can see right here, has a different purpose. Gypsum, you can make plaster powder for things like casts, horn silvers and ore of silver, make clay, make coke, make steel, make pig iron. And in general, you want to make sure that you're not using economic stones for just building things like doors and, you know, walkways. Sometimes if you really, so let's say you just really love obsidian, then you know you can build doors and things out of that. However, when you're new and you're just starting your fort, you want to make sure that you're not building too much out of economic stone. You want to just use other stone. And so we checked granite is an other stone, which is great, which means that we can start using this to build some things. What I want to do is I want to go back up to the top floor. And next to this carpenter's workshop, I want to build a masonry workshop. So let's go to the build menu, B, W for workshops, and we want to find the mason's workshop. That's M, masons for M, press M. And we're going to get that same light up, or that same blueprint, kind of 3x3 area, as we did with the carpenter's workshop, press enter. And you can see here, you can also now that we've uncovered those 4 pieces of granite a few floors down, you can actually use that granite to build this workshop. I'm not going to do that. I've only got 4. I want to save that for some other things. So I'll build out of maple logs because we have so many maple logs. So I'm going to unpause. Actually, first I'm going to hit Q. And you can see up here in the upper right, in order to build this mason's workshop, you need masonry. You need a dwarf with masonry. This carpenter's workshop needed a carpenter. Almost every single workshop is going to need a dwarf to have a skill associated with that workshop specifically. Alright, so it looks like that's actually done. It is done. So now we're going to add a few tasks. I like to keep a very clean, tidy fort. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a task. And you can see here, unlike, let's go to the left a little bit, when I hit Q and you add a task, with the carpenter's workshop, it's wooden. Everything's wooden. Makes sense, right? You go to the mason's workshop with Q and then press A to add a task. Everything's rock. Totally makes sense, right? That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so we're looking at the mason's workshop. There's a bunch of stuff. We want doors. I want to make 4 rock doors. 1, A, D, A, D, A, D. And we'll do 1 more just for good measure. Now, the mason, there you go. Nil logamimad. These names, man. Is going to run down, pick up the boulder, and slowly carry it, because it's a giant boulder, right? He's going to slowly carry it up to the mason's workshop and carve out a door. So we'll let him do that. While he's doing that, I'm going to... Well, you know what? I won't do that for now. We'll just sit and let him do that real quick. You can see it started to rain. You can see all the blue flashes. Yeah, I just kind of highlight them right now, but blue flashes. When it rains, if you've been pumping water out of ponds and things like that, when it rains, those ponds will refill, and that also helps with fishing as well. Helps kind of redo fishing. If you've kind of run out of fish and whatnot, then rain over time can kind of help bring life back to the pool. But let's go ahead and press B, because we have that 1 door that's been built. Let's find door in the list. Wouldn't you know it, it's D to build a door. So DB to build a door. We'll go ahead and place the door right in front of our dormitory. You can see the outline of the door, just like the bed. And so, is this Ryan? Ryan, man, that work ethic, though. Ryan's going to run that door down. There you go, now you have a door. Press K. We can see a granite door. Lots of different stuff you can actually build at the Mason's Workshop. Throne just means a chair. I'm not sure why they call it a throne here, where in other places like the Carpenter's Workshop, they call it a chair. Oops. Same thing with a casket. You can make a wooden casket, but for some reason in the Mason's Workshop you create a slab. I'm not sure why the names are different. Eventually I hope they go to be the same, just because that's just easier as a player to understand, you know, that these are the same things. You're making one out of wood and one out of stone. So we got the second door done. And now we'll have Ryan again. Ryan again. Thanks, Ryan. So now we have a fully enclosed bedroom. Except that we don't. Did you see what Ryan just did? It was maybe hard to follow, but Ryan ran out of this little space right here. When I was digging this hole in the last episode, I didn't even realize that I was so close to the outside wall that I was going to make a breach. So now we have a main entrance and this random little side wall. We want to close that up because that's going to cause problems when it comes to sieges and things like that. So if we hit K, we can see that there's a dense ryegrass upward slope. And upward slopes, for whatever reason, can be passed through. And if you go up a floor, by the way, you can see that there's, in the same spot here, you can kind of see there's like a downward slope here. But we want to close that off. So let's do build. And we need walls, floors, stairs, tracks. I talked about this just a little while ago. So we're going to hit Shift C, capital C. Then we want to build a wall, W. We're going to just go over the space that's that we want to block up and press enter. And then you can see, again, just like when we built the Mason's Workshop, just when we built the Carpenter's Workshop, you have a list of items here. The item matters a little bit more here. You know, if let's say there's ever a fire outside and for some strange reason the fire reaches this wall will burn down. If I made it out of stone, it wouldn't burn down unless it was a I guess a weak type of stone, or if magma hit it and there was a magma flow, I guess, and magma could destroy that. I don't know. Anyway, it's important to note that with construction like walls and things, I hit Q, and you can see in the upper right corner there's no construction specialty necessary. Like for the craftsmen, for the carpenters it was carpentry, for the masons it was masonry. Any dwarf can do this, which makes building walls very quickly. There you go. So we have our wall now. You can hit K. Now I have a maple log pillar. And it's basically a wall for all intents and purposes. It's going to prevent enemies and friendly dwarves from coming through. I'll probably replace this at some point with stone, just in case, just to make sure there's no weirdness going on. But that is that. And we are out of time for this episode. I didn't get a whole lot done, but the first few episodes, you know, just kind of explaining so that the basics get down really well. And then as I go the basics, I'm going to explain a bit less and less. But thank you guys so much for joining me for this episode. Remember, if you want a dwarf named after you, let me know in the comments down below. There's still 4 that need to be named, and we need to get on that. So, yes, I'll see you guys in a few days. Thank you again for joining me, and I'll see you next time.